All right, this one is for my girlies with the traumatizing childhoods that keep being attracted to men that continue to reactivate that trauma. And I have a personal story with this. You have to recalibrate what it is that you're attracted to. Let me put this down because I feel like we gotta get into it, right? Let's get cozy. Let's get cozy here. Okay. I am technically not a professional in this manner, and so there are people that can maybe explain the psychology of this in a much more succinct way than I can. But I was in school for a very long time, and I have personal experience. So let's get into it. I think what happens when you grow up in a household where you experience a lot of trauma, neglect, abuse, whatever, something happens in like your adult relationships where it's like you become attracted to people who like aren't gonna love you or treat you well. And one of those reasons I think is that just like the chaos in general is like comfortable in a weird way. It's like that's what you've known your whole life. So either you think that that's normal, or you're not deserving of better, you can't find better, there isn't better, and or it's all you've known, and so it feels like home in a weird way. Even though it sucks and it's like we don't actually like this. We don't like living in chaos. We say that we don't want it, but there is a weird comfortability to it, almost of like, this is the devil I know kind of a situation. And it's almost like we're trying to like rewrite our childhood and our relationships with our parents through these romantic partners. So by earning this person's love, by proving yourself worthy of love from this person, it's like a way of like proving to yourself that you're lovable, or like it's a way of rewriting the ending or the story of the relationship that you had with one or both of your parents. And so you look for people that you can play this scenario out with over and over and over again, because it's like, oh, if I can make this person love me, if I can convince this person to love me, if I can prove myself worthy to this person, it proves that I am worthy and lovable. But the reality of the situation is that person's fucking toxic, and they're not going to love you, and they're not going to treat you right. And when you continue to engage with that energy, you are going to continue to get the same shit over and over and over again. There is no rewriting that, because there was never anything wrong with you in the first place. There was never anything wrong with you. You were never unlovable. You were never unworthy. This person simply just, or these people simply just didn't have the capacity to love you. And that says more about them than it does about you. And so when you're trying to fix this, and this might take several relationships, as it did for me, you have to recalibrate what it is that you're attracted to. There's a lot of inner work that will have to be done, shadow work. A lot of times, like what I did is when I found myself in periods of being single, I hardcore worked on myself. I was still desperate for connection and partnership, and I so badly wanted that. And I spent a lot of the time being like, where's my person? Like, why do I have to be alone? I hate this. I just want to find him. Yes, that is all still there. But while that's there, we can also try to find ways to love ourselves. And what I experienced is through that process, I continued to pick slightly better partners, I would say. Or at least each partner became like a new lesson. It wasn't quite repeating the same shit, right? And I feel like with each one, I grew and I learned better. But what I really wanted to talk about, the whole reason that I'm even telling this whole fucking story, is because I want to talk about what happens when the actual right person comes into your life. Because that's tricky when you have been used to chaos and toxicity for so long. And I'm not quite sure how to like help you understand how to recognize this person, because here's the thing. The person that is actually right for you, you might not like actually be attracted to them right away. And I don't really have the answer as far as how to like differentiate that and someone who like you're just not like, sometimes you're just not into somebody, and that's fine. Like, you don't need to like force yourself to be into somebody. But also I will say that when you are used to all the bullshit, when someone who is actually healthy, who actually has the capacity to love you, who is actually a safe space comes into your life, you are likely to reject that. And that's what happened to me. And honestly, the only reason that I learned this is not because, and this is why I don't have the answer for you, because I didn't recognize that person. When my current partner came into my life, I rejected him, basically. I did not recognize him for what he was. Like, I almost let him slip right through my fingers. Like, God literally threw a fucking angel right into my lap. And I said, no thanks. Like a fucking dummy. And the only reason that I learned this lesson was because I ended up getting stuck with him. Honestly. Like, we got pregnant really early on in the relationship at a point where I was about to separate from him. And then I found out I was pregnant. And there was a lot of synchronicity at the time and a lot of things making me feel like I needed to go through with this. So I did it absolutely fucking terrified with someone who was practically a stranger at that time. And by being stuck together, I came to know him. And maybe this is how you know, because what's meant for you will not miss you, So maybe that's the answer, is that even if you do reject it at first, if it's the right person, like, it's going to come back around. And I don't mean this in a toxic way of like, there's only so much harm you can do to somebody before you're the toxic one and they should get the fuck out. But there was nothing malicious in what I was doing. I was just lost and confused. But my point is that I did not recognize him at first. And there were many times that in the beginning, when we were trying to learn each other, that we both tried to stray from this relationship. And I can't make this shit up. Like, I could go into detail about these stories, but like every time it was like the universe was like, nope, like just kept pushing us back together until we finally were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna figure this out together. And what happened was he provided a safe space for me for long enough that I was able to heal and start unpacking all of the stuff that I had going on within myself. And it took a long time. Like, it took years before I finally started to like actually take my armor off and like actually start to like sink into this, and my nervous system finally started to like feel the safety. And thankfully he was patient enough to go through that process with me. And now he's the love of my life. And he's my safe space and my home base and my rock, and the place that I know that I can always go back to, and it will be reliably safe every time. And I try to provide that to him as well. That's another thing, is that like when you have been in toxic shit for so long, even if you've been the victim, when you finally get into a healthy relationship, you're going to end up being the toxic one. And you're going to have to start like unpacking that and unlearning that, and unlearning that you need those coping mechanisms, because they're really just like a form of protection. They're things that we put in place to protect us. And when you get with somebody, when you come up against somebody who like softens instead of butts up against you in return, you'll like start to realize like, oh, I don't need those anymore, actually. So yeah, my whole point of this is to like say, don't underestimate some of these good men that walk into your life that maybe aren't quite coming in with sparks and fireworks and like this like big feeling that we might feel when we go for the bad boy, because the one that's gonna handle your heart like the sacred thing it is might come in like a whisper, like a soft stream of water, like a warm bath. I always tell Demetrius he's like warm water, which he's here, so.